That knowledge to create, to imagine, to illuminate is who you are. Can you see why this point, this moment in time, is a doubling of the speed, doubling of the consciousness, doubling of your ability to start to notice who you are? And you can't do what you've always done because you will definitely get different results. So this division is happening in such a way that those that are arguing for their limitations are going to find their world challenging. Those that are trying to hold on to power, control, domination, imposition over another are going to find it harder and harder. The world is entirely waking up. And then we went into the equinox in the fall. And this was a little surprising because it was just one word. The word was smooth. Smooth. That was kind of weird, I thought. But it all pans out kind of fascinating. So paying attention, smooth. And it turns out that when you began to put your attention in smooth and allowed the intelligence and the knowledge and the wisdom, and you were experiencing yourself in the octave, pieces began to fall in place that were exciting. Pieces began to fall away that weren't exciting. All of a sudden started finding yourself in circumstances that in the past would have been challenging, and now that it was a lot smoother. Things just began to happen. And then we went into December and this winter solstice. And this one presented in a way that it wasn't clear, but that's not the right word. It wasn't full, it was deep. You'd look into it and you'd go, wow, this is really big, but I can't grasp it all. And the energetic was very feminine. Now, this word is going to become too small for what this energy is, but it began to create an illumination. It began to create a light that was just in the background to it. It was illuminating, began to allow opportunities and possibilities. It doubled the octave. The octave became bigger, had more possibilities, more presentation. This is this evolution. This is this journey that we are all on. It's happening to everybody. When you pause, kind of step back, take a breath, and notice that your play, the scenery is changing. But if you always do what you've always done, you're going to find that things get a little choppy because what you expect isn't there anymore. And so this lightening, illumination, this softening of choice, it kind of really became what was going on. But one other piece came about, imagination. Now, one of the constructs of the third dimensional game board is imagination isn't really a good thing because it doesn't fit the rules and the structures of the third dimensional game board. Now, all game boards have rules and structures. All games have rules and structures. The games in the third dimension are such that it's really rigid. The electromagnetic field is very dense. It's very tight. It doesn't have flexibility to a great extent. It has rules and structures that basically are held in place in such a way that they're just truths in most people's realities. They're just simply, this is how life works. Two of those truths in the third dimensional game board, absolutes, unequivocal, no possibility for change, not even a consideration that change could be possible, is time and death. Time, we all know time is, past, present, future, then you die. And That's linear time, and that's how the game plays. Neither one of these two truths are truths. Time is an application to be experienced. There's 5 different constructs of present time to be administered to your circumstances. So here we are at the new equinox point, this new reference point. And a number of things are happening. There is an acceleration, a vast acceleration that is occurring. And the acceleration is bringing about both opportunity and disruption. Now, the disruption piece, it's also bringing about expansion and opening. And in a way, it's giving you choices in 3D that allow you to step into a 5D, into that joy, into that octave, begin to allow the light to come back into the space. You are starting to access all that you are. You are starting to access all that you've ever been. And in this space where we begin to get on that paced spiral, if that's the choice, you begin to draw into you knowledge and wisdom, information that you've always had. It's where you are now beginning to merge one with consciousness, that higher self, that higher mind, that alignment that allows you to pause and observe and simply know what you've always known. But then we got to last year in the equinox, last 2023, spring equinox. And something very, very specific happened. It was called Heaven's Crosses. There are a couple of us teachers who basically held that tension point. It was a splitting of the veils. It was an opening of the veils. It was an ability to step from one timeline, in a manner of speaking, one consciousness into a different consciousness. Beginning to be more and more clear, there was something bigger in the process here. Veils, opportunities. And we went to the summer solstice, and following up on that opening in the veils, consciousness began to speak. And in a way, that consciousness began to say to you, to everybody who was pausing, listening, consciousness began to say, I'm going to present in intelligence and knowledge and wisdom. If I can allow myself not to think and jump into the past or the future, I can bring my attention to beauty, a laughter. I can feel amusement in my space. So it's kind of in the background maybe, but I can begin to recognize choices that maybe I haven't recognized for a long time. How often do you just comfortably laugh at nothing, admire beauty, feel admiration for something you're looking at or somebody doing something and needing nothing other than that feeling? You see, that's you stepping out of death. That's you stepping out of time. That's what is now being presented in these next waves of illumination. And so, what are you doing? I'm learning how to radiate love, not randomly, but organizing vibrations, changing the frequencies of thought, altering the harmonics of matter, and applying the elements of love. The ability to stand into a room and change the room, where people just kind of begin to forget the anger, the rage, the resentment.